We're good to go. I'm just a couple minutes early so I can set everything up because it takes me a while. All right, I think I'm live. I think the microphone's plugged in. Double check. I've just been having so many internet problems recently that I can just imagine me doing like a whole class and the internet not working and me just talking to myself. On a few minutes early, I just wanted to check that everything's set up, and if my internet does get a little bit wobbly throughout this, then you know why. I think everyone's just sitting on the computer. Good to see you here. So today, and this is a long-awaited class. I had to postpone it last week because I had no windows. I live on a main road, so all the traffic was coming past, so I had to postpone this class last week. And here we are. So we're going to be having a look at Kurmasana and Supta Kurmasana today, tortoise pose. So it's a complicated posture. It's a part of the ashtanga primary sequence. So usually we only practice up to boat in a half primary class, but there's a whole other load of postures after boat that make up the seated sequence of ashtanga. And the one after boat is Bhujapadasana, which we've already had a look at, and then the one after Bhujapadasana is Kurmasana and Supta Kurmasana. And to be fair, a lot of the prep that we do for Bhujapadasana is totally valid for Kurmasana. So if you did do that class, there's going to be a lot of stuff you recognise. We're actually going to do the prep for Bhujapadasana in this class for this specific posture. Now, Kurmasana, what can I say about it? It's a fucking ball ache. This is my live stream, I don't care. Sorry if you have children doing this, although, you know, I'm not a kids yoga teacher, adult space only. It's a bit of a ball ache of a posture. It requires a lot of hamstring flexibility. Hamstrings, number one, really stop you from coming into this posture. Hips, the hips have to be open. There's an external rotation in the hips, so we're going to be having a look at that. Shoulders. So in Kurmasana, much like Bhujapadasana, what we're trying to do is get as much of our shoulders underneath our legs as possible. So it's this movement here, rolling the shoulder forward, and if your shoulder girdle is tight, that might be a little bit challenging as well. So hamstrings, hips, shoulders. You will need a strap for this, so just make sure you go and grab a strap. And also lower back. This, unlike Bhujapadasana, probably what differentiates it is this is a very deep forward fold. So if your lower back is tight, then that's also going to make this thing a little bit more challenging. So we're going to be doing lots of forward folds, lots of hamstring openers, hip openers, shoulder openers, and maybe an arm balance as well. So we've got a lot to get through, and ashtanga in itself, the sequence, the sun salutations, the standing postures, the seated postures, it's all prep. Everything leads you up to the next posture. So if you are practicing ashtanga, I mean, you're doing all the prep in that sequence, but for time, just because we've only got an hour, we're skipping past a few and then get into Kurmasana at the end. All right, yes, great, what a start. So if you want to come to the front of your mats, if you've got any injuries, you just need to check with your doctor before doing this. Be mindful as always as you move through the postures. You are your own best teacher, okay? So just use your common sense. If something hurts, don't do it. I'm actually going to be giving you quite a few modifications when we reach Kurmasana anyway, because it is a challenging posture. Anyway, feet together, ankles apart, lift your shoulders, allow them to fall back and head slightly tilted forward. So we are going to begin with 5 sun salutations, variation A, just to get the body nice and warm. It includes a forward fold, includes a back bend to start releasing any tension that may have built up in the lower spine, and also downward dog starts to work into the hamstrings and the lower back as well. So we're going to be doing 5 sun salutations, your options. Now before we begin, just start to slow the breath down, nice deep inhales and exhales through the nose. Not staying here for too long today, but if you are working with Ujjayi breath, you can start to work with that. Finding a slow, steady rhythm that's sustainable for you, so something you can maintain. And Kurmasana is a very, very tricky posture, very easy to forget to breathe. So always prioritising the breath over the posture, always making sure that we feel comfortable breathing. If you cannot breathe in a posture, you've gone too far. That's it. Okay. Alright, so let's begin, let's just crack on. So as you inhale, swoop your arms up, look up, palms together, big stretch, and then exhale, fold. Hands to floor, drop the head, bend the knees as much as you need to. Then as you inhale, you're looking forward, keep the hands on the floor, weight comes into the hands as you exhale, step or jump back to plank, and lower to low press up or the floor. You inhale, pull through a back bend, lead with the chest, shoulders back. And then exhale, you're rolling over the toes and coming into your first downward dog. So, you know, take a moment, set the hands up, set the feet up. You can shuffle around, that's not a problem. You want your feet hip width apart, hands are roughly shoulder width apart, and then the fingers are nice and spread. So pressing down any gaps that may have appeared underneath the fingers, so you're sharing the weight between the fingers and palms rather than overloading into the wrists. Your knees can be bent, the heels do not have to touch the floor. Absolutely fine to bend the knees, especially if the hamstrings are a little bit tight. All we're trying to do is create a straight line from the hands up the arms, up the spine, shooting out the back of the hip. So eventually the back is in a relatively straight line, 90-degree angle with the body. And then just holding it here for a few more breaths. Heads relaxed, so no tension in the back of the neck. And then as you inhale, feet forward, look forward. Keep the hands on the floor as you do this, and then exhale, drop the head. Inhale, swooping the arms up, look up. And exhale, arms by your side. Lovely, again, inhale, arms up. Palms together if possible, head tilts back between the arms, and then exhale, fold. Bend the knees as much as you need to, drop the head. You inhale, look forward, lengthen, weight comes into the hands as you exhale, step or jump back to plank and lower to low press up or the floor. You inhale, a back bend, tops of the feet, hips to wrists. And then exhale, rolling over the toes and coming into your downward dog, adjusting the feet and the hands if necessary. Drawing the thighs to the back of the room and then feeling that deep stretch, calves, hamstrings, towards the glute, lower back. Letting the head relax, so eventually looking towards the navel, but if that's not comfortable, just looking back between the thighs. Holding it here. Lovely, then as you inhale, feet forward, look forward, exhale, drop the head, and then inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up, and exhale, arms by your side. Again, round 3, inhale, arms up, big reach, exhale, fold, drop the head, inhale, look forward, and then exhale, feet back, and lower. You inhale, pull through a back bend, lead with the chest. And then exhale, rolling over the toes and coming into downward dog. Nice, slow, steady breaths, adjusting the feet. Drawing the thighs to the back of the room, maybe tilting the hips up towards the ceiling. Keeping the breath steady. Keeping the head relaxed. I'm laughing because someone's knocking at the door. I'm not answering, quarantine. Good, and then inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, drop the head. And inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up. Exhale, arms by your side. Gotta love a live stream. Again, 2 more. Inhale, arms up, big reach. Exhale, fold, drop the head. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. Then exhale, feet back, lower to low press up all the floor. You inhale, pull through a back bend. And then exhale, downward dog. Feet hip width apart, hands roughly shoulder width apart, fingers nice and spread. Drawing the thighs to the back of the room and then trying to share the weight between the hands and the feet. There's a real upward push with the hands on the floor. Keeping the breath steady, maybe seeing if you can draw the heels a little more towards the floor if they're not. It's not the point of the posture, but because today we're supercharging the hamstrings, maybe seeing if we can challenge ourselves to get the legs a little straighter than usual. And then inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, drop the head. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, arms by your side. Last one. Inhale, big reach up. Exhale, fold. Drop the head, hands to floor. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. And then exhale, feet back, lower, body one long line. You inhale, pull through a back bend, tops of the feet. And then exhale, coming into your last held downward dog. So feet hip width apart, hands roughly shoulder width apart, drawing the thighs to the back of the room. Maybe tilting the hips up towards the ceiling. And then keeping the head nice and relaxed. Slow, steady breaths. Spreading the fingers, sharing the weight between the hands and the feet. And then as you inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, drop the head. And then inhale, arms up, look up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Lovely, give your body a shake. So it's really funny because I think I'm famous. Usually I put a little sign on the door like recording in progress, please do not disturb. But because I wasn't expecting anything. Can you imagine walking past my house if you know me, see recording in progress? That was such an inflated sense of self right there. So warming the body up with a few sun salutations. Okay, should be feeling a little bit more loose now, and we're going to just crack on with what I consider to be the most important parts of the standing sequence to prepare for Kurmasana, and most of them are forward folds. So if you want to come with your feet together, as you inhale, you're going to step or jump your feet hip width apart, and then exhale, take your hands to your hips. So hip folds, really important. So inhale, lift the chest, look up. Find some length here, and then exhale, fold forward. Just remember you can bend your knees as much as you need to here. We're folding forward so we can take the big toes first, do fingers and thumbs. Keep the thumbs off the floor. Then inhale, look forward, straighten the arms, again, finding some space. And then as you exhale, drop the head. So from now on, the body doesn't lift. The head doesn't lift, it only lifts that one time, that first initial stretch forward to find some room. There's a bend in your elbows, take it out sideways, and then draw the shoulders back towards the waist. The shoulders, obviously, because of the position we're in, want to drop down towards the floor, but keep them drawing back so the upper back is broad, the neck has plenty of room. And then, again, you can bend the knees as much as you need to. It's more important to get the belly and the thighs close together than it is to have the legs dead straight. That way we avoid over-rounding in the back. However, because we really do need these hamstrings to be working, maybe challenge yourself and just see if you can straighten the legs maybe a little bit more than you usually do. Just a smidgen. Lifting the hips up high, moving the weight forward into the toes, and then breathing deeply through the nose. Okay, up into the chest. If you need a rest at any point, feel free to have a rest. It is a bit of a hamstring killer, but we're also doing this for our lower back, so maybe feeling some tension release there, especially if you sit for long periods. Few more moments. And then inhale, look forward. Now you can repeat the posture with the fingers around the toes, or this time sliding the hands underneath the feet, toes right up in towards the wrists. Again, inhale, look forward, lengthen. The first and only time we lift the head here. And then exhale, drop the crown of the head down. Now, if you're standing on your hands, it's a slightly deeper stretch, but we still want the elbows broad. We still want to be drawing the shoulders back towards the waist, and then seeing if we can move the weight forward into the toes. So we're not overloading
or overloading. We're not sinking back too heavy in the hips. Letting the head relax. Sometimes we think our head's relaxed, but it's not relaxed. I hold a lot of tension in my shoulders and my neck, so I'm definitely there. So really letting the back of the neck go here. Maybe seeing if you can just straighten the legs a little bit more than you usually would, but always keeping the back of the knees soft, so never locking those knees. Doing really, really well. We're holding this just for a little bit longer. Don't know about you, my hamstrings. Beautiful. Then as you inhale, look forward, lengthen. And then exhale, take your hands to your hips. And from here, you inhale all the way up to standing. And then exhale, just step your feet together at the front of your mat. So we're going to put a sun salutation in between these postures. Keep the body nice and warm. So from here, as you inhale, arms up, look up, big reach. And then exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. You inhale, look forward, lengthen, weight into the hands. As you exhale, feet back, lower to low, press up on the floor. You inhale, back bend, lead with the chest. And then exhale, come into downward dog. So we're no longer holding the downward dogs. From here, straight away inhale, forward. Exhale, drop the head. And then inhale, swooping these arms up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Fantastic. So feet together at the front of your mat. And then on your next inhale, we're going to take a step out with our right foot. Big step. Yes. It's going to be forward folds. They're just going to rain down on you from now on. So wide leg forward folds. Prasarita, Padottanasana, A, B, C, D. Really important postures in the standing sequence to build up to Kurmasana especially. So feet wide. So we want to take the feet as wide as we need to get the hands on the floor. It's not a competition of how wide we can get the feet. In fact, if you take the feet too wide, you just collapse into the ankles. So while we want to get the hands to the floor in a minute, we also don't want to feel like we're coming into the splits. We don't want to be too short. So you've got to play around with this width. But just bear in mind that if you're going crazy and taking your legs like that wide, you probably need to shuffle them in a little bit. So turning the toes in will help protect the ankles. Take your hands to your hips. Legs are strong in this, as straight as you can get them. Then inhale, lift the chest, look up. And then exhale, we're folding forward. And then we're going to see if we can place the fingertips in line with the toes. Now here's a good place to stay and check the distance of your feet from one another. If you can't get your hands on the floor, maybe you're a bit short, you need to come a bit wider. Alright, now if you feel like you've got the hands on the floor and you're slipping, you need to bring your feet further in. So fingertips are in line with toes. Now from here, just like before, you inhale, look forward, lengthen, straighten the arms, lift the chest. And now exhale, fold, crown of the head drops down towards the floor, eventually gently brushing the floor. But if it's not there, don't worry. Again, that's not really the purpose of the posture. We're just trying to work into the hips a little bit here, hamstrings, calves, lower back. Now if you're coming down quite deep into your fold and you feel like you want a little bit more, you can walk your hands further back between your legs. Just keep the elbows in line with the wrists, and the elbows in line with the shoulders, so there's a 90-degree angle with the arms. And then gently maybe using the hands on the floor to ease the body a little bit closer towards the legs. Again, the weight comes forward, so we're not sinking back into the hips. And then breathe. So if your legs are straight, you do want to try and get them as straight as possible. Just keep the back of the knees soft. Keeping the breath steady. Legs are strong. Alright, and then just holding it here. So as well as being all of that, it's an inversion as well. So we've got the head below the chest, we're upside down. So good prep for things like headstand. Hips high, head low. Beautiful. And then as you inhale, look forward. Exhale, take your hands to your hips, hover here for a moment, and then use the strength in the legs to inhale, push yourself up. These are leg strengtheners. And then exhale, pause here. So inhale, arms wide. And then exhale, take your hands to your hips. So now we're going to start to work into the shoulders as well as the legs. So we're going to keep the hands on the hips. As you inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, dive forward, taking the crown of the head as close towards the floor as possible. Keeping the hands on the hips this time, and then broadening across the upper back. So imagine I've got my fingertips on your elbows, and I'm asking you to gently press back into those fingertips. So keeping the upper back broad, the head is relaxed, and moving the weight forward into the toes and taking those deep breaths. I always get quite bunged up when I'm upside down. So, breathing through the nose if possible, but if this is making you feel a little bit congested, you can breathe through the mouth, you do what you want. Just keep everything nice and controlled. Lovely. Now, as you inhale, strengthen the legs. We're going to come all the way up to standing. And exhale, pause here. Lovely. Inhale, arms wide, stretch. And this time, exhale, take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. So big shoulder opener coming our way. So inhale, lift the chest, look up. Now exhale, dive forward. Get into your fold, so come comfortably into that position, and then once you're there, just lift the arms away from the lower back, taking the arms overhead. Again, doesn't really matter how far they come overhead. Still working into the shoulders, no matter how far they've lifted. Working across the chest, and then keeping the legs strong, moving the weight forward, hips high, head low. Doing a really good job. So this might be the first big shoulder opener we've done so far, so don't worry if it feels a little bit tight. We'll be doing a couple more in a minute. So just doing your best, keeping the arms as straight as possible. Lovely, and then inhale all the way back up. It made me a bit woozy, these. And then exhale, take your hands to your hips. Last one. Inhale, lift the chest. Then exhale, diving forward. This time take hold of your big toes first, 2 fingers and thumbs. Keep your thumbs off the mat, because if you fall, you'll snap them off. But we want good connection, so you are pressing the thumbs into those 2 fingers and making a little circle. Then as you inhale, lift the chest, lengthen, and then finally exhale, fold, crown of the head drops down towards the floor. Very similar to the forward fold we done earlier. Couple of things with this. We want the shoulders to be strong. So there's an upward lift. The wrists are over the toes. The elbows are in line with the wrists, and the elbows are in line with the shoulders. And then we're drawing the shoulder blades back. So everything upper body is quite strong. There's a real tendency for elbows to kind of drop outwards or inwards, and the arms to be relatively floppy. But keep everything sort of quite... Moving the weight forward, and then using the hands, fingers around the toes to help that movement. I mean, I don't know about you, but my legs feel like they're going to drop off. So hopefully feeling that stretch back of the legs, groin, hips. Few more moments here. And then inhale, look forward. And then exhale, hands to hips, hover. And then inhale, push yourself up. And then one step, front of the mat. Beautiful, give your legs a little shake if you need to, before moving through another sun salutation. So legs together, lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back. Because you think about it, right? By the time you hit Kurmasana, in the sequence, you've not only done all your sun salutations at the beginning, of which there are 8 to 10, you've also done all your vinyasas between the seated postures, every posture right and left side. So by the point you get to Kurmasana, you've done billion sun salutations. So we need to keep tracking. So legs together, lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back, head slightly tilted forward. Now, as you inhale, arms come up. And then exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. And then exhale, feet back. And lower, elbows in. You inhale a back bend, reach those shoulders back. And then exhale, downward dog. So from downward dog, we're not going to hold it. We're going to take the feet between the hands, look forward, hands stay on the floor. And then exhale, drop the head. And then inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Lovely. Give your body a shake, give your legs a shake. So we're deviating from the sequence a little bit now. We're going to come into pyramid pose. But we aren't going to be doing the ashtanga version, which is short. We're going to be doing a slightly more general version, which I think is sometimes a bigger hamstring stretch. So legs together. And then from here, we're going to do this 2 or 3 times. We're going to take a step back with the left foot. Now, unlike the ashtanga version, we're going to be taking a slightly wider stance. And I never know if it's wider or longer. Longer stance. We're going to turn the back foot out 45 degrees and just make sure the feet are hip width apart. So the legs are going to stay as straight as possible throughout this. Hips are going to stay square to the front of the room. Take your hands to your hips. Now inhale here, lift, and then exhale, start to fold forward. If you have back problems, you can walk your hands down that right leg. Now you can stay upright. As soon as the knee starts to bend, you need to stop, because we don't want to be doing this bending the knee, because we're going to lose the purpose of the posture, which is the hamstring stretch. So if you need to take your hands to your thigh or your hands to your shin to keep the leg straight, absolutely do it. Otherwise, let's see if we can take the hands either side of the foot and then drop the head. Okay, so this is 4 hamstrings, all hamstrings. You should be feeling a very, very deep stretch at the back of that right leg. But while the right foot is strong and it's that right leg we're targeting, we still want the left foot to be grounded, so pressing down through the left foot. Letting the head totally relax. These shoulders can relax here, no problem. And again, if you do have yoga blocks, you can actually put blocks either side of the foot, rest your hands on the blocks instead of the floor. And then if you're up a little bit higher, not a problem. Same thing, you're still pressing through both of the feet and getting that nice stretch in the right hamstring. Deep, even breaths. We're just going to be holding it here for a little bit longer. Told you it's going to be all hamstrings today. Just making sure the back of the knees are soft and the knees haven't locked. Alright, lovely, then inhale, look forward. Now you can come straight up to standing, or you can walk your hand up that right leg if you need a bit more support. Then step the left foot forward, and then step the right foot back. So same thing, right foot turns out about 45 degrees, hips are square to the front of the room, and legs are going to stay as straight as possible, hands to hips. You inhale, lift, and then exhale, fold, either coming straight down or walking the hands down the left leg. Hands to thigh, shin, or either side of the foot, using blocks if you need to, and just letting the head relax once you're in your posture. Feeling that massive stretch. Left hamstring now, getting the legs as straight as possible without locking. And then feeling that good connection between the right foot and the floor as well. A bit of leg shake is normal. I say that as I nearly need myself in the face because my leg is shaking. Okay, so you're holding it here. Doing a really good job. Alright, and then as you inhale all the way up, or walking your hands up, and then stepping forward with your right foot. So we're going to do that again. So take a step back with your left foot this time. So right foot's in front. Same thing, left foot turns out 45 degrees. Make sure there's a gap of about a hip's width between the feet as well, otherwise it gets a bit wonky. Hip square, leg straight. Now, this time, if you were on your limit there and you feel like you want the support of the hands on the leg or the hands on the floor, you're going to do that. Otherwise, we're going to see if we can interlace the hands behind the back, and very similar to that forward fold we done earlier, once we're in our fold, we're going to see if we can lift the arms away. Alright, we'll give it a go. So if you're repeating what we just done, absolutely go ahead and do that. Hands to thigh, shin, floor. Otherwise, we've got the feet in position, interlace your hands behind your back and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Now from here, you inhale, lift just like before, and then exhale, start to fold. letting the body come down as far as it wants to. You might stay upright, that's okay. But whenever you're in your fold, let the head go and let the arms come overhead. Big shoulder stretch, big hamstring stretch. No back of the neck, so back of the neck's heavy. And then pressing down through the back foot, trying as much as possible to keep those legs straight. Hips square, few more breaths here. Okay, lovely. Now you're either going to come straight up or you can take the hands to the legs and walk yourself up. Fantastic. And then step forward with your left foot and then back with your right. If your hands are interlaced, keep them interlaced. Okay, so back foot turns out 45 degrees. Legs are straight, hips width between the feet, hips square. You inhale, lift and exhale. Again, repeating whatever you're doing, whether that's hands to leg or floor. Or once you're in your fold, letting the arms come up away from the lower back, head relaxes. And then we're really working into the hamstrings here as well as the shoulders. My left leg's such a problem leg. Good. Okay, lovely. Then as you inhale up, and then exhale, release the posture. And then step your feet forward and just give your shoulders a little shake. Ooh, really warm today, isn't it? All right, let's do another sun salutation. So feet together, lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back. And just take a minute here. Lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back. How do they feel? They should feel a little bit looser now we've done all this shoulder work as well. Your hamstrings, notice them as we move through this forward fold. If you're able to get your hands to the floor, just a little bit easier. So, lift your shoulders, allow them to fall back. Okay, chest is broad, and then as you inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up. Then exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. How does that feel compared to how you started? And then inhale, look forward, lengthen, weight in the hands, exhale, feet back, and lower. You inhale, pull through a back bend, chest forward. And then exhale, come into downward dog. You may notice that the back of the legs aren't so tight now. And then from here, as you inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, drop the head. And then inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Lovely. So have a drink, grab a strap. Go do that. So we're going to need the strap now. We're going to work for the shoulders a little bit more. All right, so feel like we've targeted the back of the legs quite well. Shoulder strap exercise. Right. So grab your strap, stand with your feet hip width apart and parallel. Take the strap, lengthen the strap so the top of the strap is on the top of your head. Oh no. And then remember, we're going to be doing this 3 times. So you don't want to take the strap too short to begin with. So make this go quite long. Now from here, you are going to inhale, lift the strap up. And then as you exhale, you're going to take the strap back halfway, okay? You can just about see what I'm doing. Have a little look at your elbows. You want the elbows to be facing up towards the ceiling and a little bend in the elbows. Make sure it is halfway. So there's a little tendency to come too low or too high because it makes it feel easier. But making sure that strap is parallel to the floor. We aren't coming into a forward fold or a back bend, so we're keeping the body nice and upright. So isolating this movement in the shoulder. And then pull the strap like you're trying to snap it. So the arms are strong, the biceps are working, triceps are working. And then obviously huge stretch across the chest as well. And then just holding it here for a few more moments. Okay, so what have we got? We've got a little bend in the elbow, elbows face ceiling. Pulling the strap, no forward folds, no back bends, and the strap is parallel to the floor. Okay, well done. And then now as you exhale, take the strap down to your bum. Roll your shoulders forward, little counter stretch, so really round the back here, maybe chin to chest. And And then as you inhale, we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together and then lift the strap back up halfway. So maybe just having a little look, making sure it is in fact halfway. I've got to make sure I'm doing this because everyone's going to be watching me like, Ashleigh, your strap's not halfway. Oh, don't preaching over there, not doing it yourself. And then really pull in the strap. Good, and then bring that strap overhead all the way down to your tummy, and then just give your shoulders a little shake. Fab. So this, obviously not a yoga posture, but this exercise is the best shoulder opener exercise I can suggest to anyone. Fantastic for wheel, you know, those deep back bends where you need to take the arms back and push yourself up. A really, really good shoulder opener. So we're going to do that again. Now if you're on your edge there, you can absolutely stay there. However, if you want a deeper stretch, you're going to shorten the strap. Remember, we're going to do it once more after this, so take it easy. Don't wrap the strap around your hand, because then if you want to try and lengthen it as you go, you're going to be in trouble and I'm not there to help you. I can't come and pull you out of it. So this time, taking the strap overhead, maybe shortening the strap if you want a slightly deeper stretch. You inhale, lift. And then exhale, reach the arms back, strap comes back halfway. So trying not to come into a forward fold or back bend, little bends in the elbows face up. Really pulling the strap as much as you can, so keeping those arms really strong. Looking straight forward. Keeping the breath steady. These might feel a little bit more brutal than usual, especially if you've been like working at a home desk or something with shoulders slouching forward a little bit, like me, because it's the opposite movement, you know, we're taking the shoulders back. Fab. And now as you exhale, bring the strap down to your bum, roll the shoulders forward, round the back, chin to chest, little counter stretch. And now as you inhale, we're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to take the strap back, up, halfway, have a little look, pull the strap as much as you can, get that strap strong. Lovely, and then bring the strap all the way overhead down towards your tummy, and then just give your shoulders a little shake. Fabulous. And we're going to do the exact same thing, maybe shorten the strap, maybe lengthen it if you need to. Either way last time. So strengthening. It's done. My words are done today. Do you know what it is? It's because you're talking to people less, aren't you? So it's going to be a nightmare when I'm back in the class with everybody. It's going to be a free-for-all. So shorten the strap if you need to. If you want to, lengthen it if you need to. Last time. Inhale, lift the strap up. Exhale, take the strap back. Ooh, halfway. Now if you've shortened the strap, it's going to be a lot harder to keep the body upright. But do your best. Again, we don't want to lean forward, you lose that isolated stretch. So spine is nice and long. Breath steady. Pulling the strap as much as possible. Amazing. And as you exhale, we're just going to bring the strap down to our bum, roll the shoulders forward, tuck the chin in, little counter stretch. Last time as you inhale, squeezing the shoulder blades back, lifting the strap back up halfway. Making sure that it is, you know, parallel to the floor. Amazing. And then bring your strap all the way over your head, towards your tummy. Give your shoulders a shake and put your strap down. Okay, that was fun. All right, so a little sun salutation. So we're going to come through a sun salutation. We're going to make our way into Malasana. We're just going to hold that squat for a little while, and then we're going to come down into seated and do some stuff from there. So feet together, legs together, lift your shoulders, allow them to fall back. And then as you inhale, we're going to swoop the arms up, look up, and then exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. You inhale, look forward, lengthen, and then exhale, feet back to plank, lower to low press up on the floor. You inhale, pull through a back bend, shoulders back, and then you exhale, downward dog. Now, if possible, from downward dog, you're going to bring the weight forward and jump your feet to the outside of your hands. Now, if that's not happening, you can step. But weight comes forward, shoulders forward, little hop, and then see if you can Gently land your feet to the outside of your hands, coming into Malasana now. So, little yogi squat, feet turn out, absolutely fine. Hands in prayer, pressing the legs into the arms and the arms back into the legs to open up across the pelvis. If your heels don't touch the floor, don't stress about it. You can be up on the balls of your feet. If you need a bit of support, a bit of extra balance, you can take your hands back to the floor. Otherwise, we're just going to hang out here. A very important little posture for Padasana and Kurmasana, Supta Kurmasana, all of that good stuff. So just see, if you're working with this a little bit deeper, you want to make sure you're gently squeezing your shoulder blades together and keeping the chest broad rather than letting the shoulders collapse forward. Okay, doing a good job. Nice, steady breath. Really good posture to release lower back and also work into the hips. Okay, now from here, we're going to take our hands to the floor. We're going to see if we can jump back into plank. So I've just decided to do this. I'm like, yeah, this will be fun. All right, so take your hands to the floor, lean the weight forward, and then see if you can just hop the feet back into plank. Okay, good. Then lower to low press up on the floor. You inhale a back bend. You exhale, downward dog. All right, now from downward dog, we're going to hop the feet to the outside of the hands again into Malasana. So shoulders forward, weight in the arms, little hop. And then gracefully land your feet to the outside of the hands. I was like, Ashley, God, shut up. Okay, doing a good job. Okay, so we're back here, pressing the arms into the legs back into the arms to open up across the pelvis, breath steady. Also, very good for your ankles. So if you've got sort of weak, pathetic ankles like me, this is a good way to strengthen that area, and knees as well. Okay, a few more breaths. Lovely, and then we're going to do that again. So take the hands to the floor, weight into the hands, arms are strong. You're going to pop yourself back into plank, and then lower to low press up on the floor. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, downward dog. Last time from downward dog, we are going to jump the feet to the outside of the hands, gracefully, lightly, back into Malasana, last time. Pressing the arms into the legs back into the arms, keeping the shoulders drawing back and extending through the crown of the head. Okay. It's very exciting, isn't it? Slow, steady breaths. Okay, amazing. Now from here, hands to floor, weight into the hands, hop back into plank and lower. You inhale, back bend. Exhale, dog. And this time from downward dog, we're going to come into seated. So you can practice your jump throughs, or you can just make your way onto the floor. Okay, nearly there. I just wanted to do a couple of forward folds, maybe a hip opener. All right, so we're going to do a seated forward fold. Seated forward folds, I think, are a lot harder than standing forward folds. It seems to be a little bit trickier to get that same lift in the base of the spine, but we're going to give it a go. So legs straight out in front of you. You can bend the knees as much as you need to in this, all right? And you can start with the legs straight, and then if at any point you feel a big sort of tug in the lower back and you're round in the back, then you need to bend the knees. So from here, inhale, arms up, lift. So make yourself as tall as you can, move forward on your sit bones, and now lead with the chest. So the chest, it's almost like we're drawing it down towards the shins, and then just take the outside of your feet if possible. Otherwise, take hold of your big toes first, your fingers and thumbs. Now from here, before we come into the fold, inhale, look forward, lengthen, and then exhale, come into your forward fold. Whatever you're working with, bend the knees as much as you need to, let the head relax. Keep the feet active, toes pull back, obviously a huge stretch. The whole of the posterior chain here, calves, hamstrings, glutes, lower back, but still keeping the elbows broad, shoulders drawing back towards the waist. Deep, slow breathing, a few more moments. Okay, and then inhale, look forward. And then exhale, release. Give your legs a little shake, okay? Cradle pose, compass pose, compass pose. So I might do another class on compass pose. Well, I'm just going to chuck it in today. So if we get to it and you think, Ashleigh, I really don't know what you're playing at here, absolutely fine. I'll explain it in a different class, maybe a angle as well. So, legs straight out in front. So we're going to keep the left leg straight out in front, left toes pull back, and then to begin with, just to work into that right hip a bit more, we're going to take the right foot into either the left hand or the left elbow, and we're going to support the right knee with either the right elbow or the right hand. So you look a bit like this if the hip maybe is a bit tight today, or the shin is able to come in towards the body a little bit more. Then we're sitting up nice and tall, squeezing the shin in towards the chest as much as possible, and then maybe just rocking that leg. You know, it makes sense why it's called cradle pose. So just rocking the leg out, keeping the spine nice and long at all times. Again, if you're holding onto the foot, holding onto the knee, coming a bit lower, that's okay. Might look a bit like this. Wherever you are is perfect. We're just adding a bit of a hip thing in here. Right. Okay. Right, now stop rocking, sit up tall, see if you can really squeeze the shin in towards the chest here. We're going to see if we can come into a posture called compass pose. So you're more than welcome to stay here, all right? Stop anywhere on the journey you want to. Otherwise, we're going to draw our left foot in towards the body. Okay, so it looks like this, the left knee is down. And then we're going to place the right arm underneath the leg. Little bend in the elbows, fine, fingers face forward. We're going to take the outside of the right foot, and then we're going to straighten the right leg up. All right, this is what we're going to be doing. So you've got the left knee bent, you've got the right arm in front of that right leg, you've got the outside of the right foot, straightening as much as possible, and then maybe looking up under that left arm. Oh, sprung this on you, didn't I? Beautiful, hold it here. So you can always have a little look at me if you're confused. Okay, amazing. Now, you can stay here, you can come back to cradle. We're going to see if we can come into A angle from this, so I'll explain it in another video. So if you're very, very confused, just maybe watch and have a go the other side. From here, we're going to see if we can drop the right leg over the right arm. So now we need a bend in that right elbow. We're going to see if we can cross the left foot over the right foot. So hands now both on the floor. We're going to see if we can roll the weight forward, pick the feet up off, look forward. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up. And then sit the mum down. Okay, that was a bit extra, wasn't it? I'll probably do another class explaining A angle. But this is just a bit of fun before we come on to Kurmasana. You know I like to keep you on your toes. Let's try the other side. So right leg straight to begin with, and then we're going to come into cradle pose. So we're going to put the left foot into the left elbow, or left foot into the right elbow or the right hand. And then we're going to support the left knee with either the left hand or the left elbow. Again, it's very much dependent on your hip here. Sitting up nice and tall, trying to squeeze the shin in towards the chest as much as possible, and then just rocking that hip out. Again, high or low. What we're aiming for is this is one of those postures where everyone's is going to look different. So don't get too caught up on what it looks like. What we're trying to feel is a stretch in the left glute hip area, so left butt cheek area, okay? And that is achieved by trying to draw the leg in towards the body as close as possible and sitting up nice and tall. Okay, so stop rocking, sit up nice and tall, squeeze the shin in towards the chest, and stay in here, or if you want to give this compass posture a go, you're going to take your right foot in towards the groin, lay the right leg down on the floor. So in itself, this is a hip opener. You're going to take the left hand underneath the left leg, out to the side, palm down, and then take hold of the outside of the left foot with the right hand. Starting position. Now as you inhale, you're going to see if you can straighten that left leg, and then gently look up underneath the right arm, up towards the ceiling, and then just do your best and hold it here. Point in the left toes. So hamstring, shoulders, hips, anything else? Beautiful. And then seeing if we can come into 8 angles. So again, if you're confused, maybe watch and have a go next time, or you can give it a go. It's a little bit tricky, this one. So now we're going to be dropping the left leg over the back of the left forearm. Okay, so now the left elbow has to bend. You're going to cross your right foot over your left foot, place the right hand on the floor as well. So this is our starting position. Now we need to roll forward and bend the elbows to come into 8 angle. So make your way into that posture if you're doing it. Straighten the legs, drop the chest, look forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Pick yourself back up and then come down onto your bums. And then come down onto your backs and hug the knees into your chest. 8 angle, hey? I remember the first time I'd done 8 angle. It was a long and perilous journey. It took me many years. And even now, still not my fave. But yeah, compass and 8 angle. So yeah, we're going to have to do that, aren't we? At least now you have an idea of what's in store, if I say we've got a compass class. So just rocking your back out here, squeezing the thighs in towards the belly, all fun and games. Right, lovely. And then, as you inhale, pop yourself up to seated. Right. I really do want to do one last bit of prep. We have got 10 minutes, so it should be all right. I want to do the Bujapidasana prep that we done. So if you want to come up to standing, we're just going to do it together. So this is a forward fold, and it's designed to help us get the shoulders as much as possible underneath the legs. So if you want to stand with your feet maybe slightly wider than hips width apart, hands to hips, inhale, lift, exhale, fold. So if you've done that class, you're going to know what's coming. If not, I'm sorry in advance. Okay, so place your hands on the floor in front of your feet to begin with, and then just bend the knees as much as you need to here and just get comfortable in this fold. So we want the feet slightly wider than hips width, because now what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can take the right shoulder underneath the right leg. Take hold of your right calf, really wiggle it under. You might want to pick the heel up to do that and then place the heel back down. And then do exactly the same the other side. So maybe picking the left heel up if you need a bit more room. Left shoulder underneath left leg, and then place that heel back down. So you've got hold of your calves here. You've got the shoulders as much as possible underneath the legs. Okay? Now as you inhale, see if you can straighten the legs as much as possible. And then exhale, just bend the knees, relax. Then inhale, straighten the legs. Hands are heavy on the calves here. And then exhale, bend the knees, relax. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift the hips, straighten the legs. And then exhale, relax. I'm right there with you last time. Inhale, straighten the legs, lift the hips. And then exhale, relax and untangle. Come down onto your knees. Have a rest. Oh my God. It's intense, isn't it? It's an intense prep. And then, yeah, so I didn't want to break it down too much because I have done it in a previous class, but that prep there is Bujapidasana Kurmasana. So that's a good exercise to practice if you are working in these postures. Right, we're ready. So, Kurmasana first. Traditionally, you would come into this posture from Titibhasana. What you would do is you would jump your legs around your arms, come into that arm balance with straight legs, slide down the arms, and then come into the posture. We're not going to do that today. We're not going to, one, I can't do it, so I wouldn't be able to show you even if I wanted to. I'd end up breaking my elbows, but we're going to make it a bit more accessible. One problem with Kurmasana, people take the legs too wide. Eventually, when we come to Supta Kurmasana, the posture afterwards, we need to bring the feet together. Doesn't make sense to take the legs this wide. That's not correct. We don't need to be doing it. So we're going to take this in stages. We've opened the hips, the shoulders, the groin. We're in a good position. So instead of taking the legs wide, don't need to, take the legs maybe slightly wider than hips width. Maybe the distance sort of your mat, not long ways, short ways. Okay? Have the feet off the floor to begin with. Well, actually, have the feet off the floor all the way, as in toes pull back, heels are down, and then bend the knees. So if you have a little look at me, got my feet slightly wider than hips width. The reason we do need to separate the legs is because we're going to see if we can fold into that space. So shuffling maybe a little bit to give yourself a bit of room. Now the first step is a forward fold. So just like we done earlier, you need to move back a little bit. As you inhale, lift the arms up, and then exhale, lead with the chest and fold into that space. Okay? Arms out in front of you. Get as much reach forward as you can. So it is a big ask of the lower back here. Your knees are bent, your toes are pulling back, your back of the knees are off the floor at this point. You're just seeing if you can get as much fold forward as possible. This is step number one. You are more than welcome to stay here and work on the forward fold. Now, step number two. We need to get our arms underneath the legs. So, we'll start with the right shoulder. Roll your right shoulder forward first, then thread the arm underneath the right leg. Place your right palm down on the floor, okay? So palm's not up, palm is down. Do the same thing the other side. So rolling left shoulder forward, threading left arm underneath the leg, palm down, and this is step number two. You've just got your arms underneath the bent legs, palms are down, and you're staying here, okay? A big ask of the back, hamstring, shoulders. Now, to come into this posture, you very, very slowly, with control, start to straighten the legs. As you straighten the legs, it's going to put a deeper stretch in the shoulders. You are pulling your chest down towards the floor. You're going to stop anywhere that you need to, okay? Eventually chin down, chest down, and eventually feet off the floor. You start to straighten them that much. But just stop wherever you're on the journey. When I do Kurmasana in class, everyone's like, shut up, Ashleigh. But you can stop anywhere, okay? You might be working on the fold, you might be working on getting the shoulders underneath the legs, or just straightening the legs a little bit. I want you to just hold it here, wherever you are, for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, okay? So just bend the knees, unthread your arms, come up to sitting, be careful of your back, give everything a little shake. So that is Kurmasana. So eventually the whole body, the chest, the chin, the tummy are on the floor. You've got the arms underneath the shoulders, they're reaching back, and the legs are straightening, pushing forward, so everything ends up like pancake. Supta Kurmasana. First of all, you need to be able to get into Kurmasana, really. What you try and do is bind the hands behind the back. This is the posture I'm working on, so I wish I could give you a bit more sort of advice about it, but until I've learned to do it myself, I can't give you the best advice. But what I can do is show you a modification that I'm working on. So with Supta Kurmasana, eventually what happens is you take the foot behind the head, you cross both feet behind the head, you bind sitting up, and then you come down and then you bind. So you cross the feet behind the head first. I can't do that, guys. Not gonna lie to you. So what I do is I come into Kurmasana like we just done, and I work on the bind. So before even thinking about crossing the feet, you work on the bind. Now you can actually use a strap, okay, to help. So if you want to make your way into your Kurmasana, so we've got the knees bent, toes pulled back, feet slightly wider than hips width. You lift the arms, you fold forward, get as much reach forward as possible, and then you go through that process of rolling the shoulders forward, reaching the arms back, and getting as much of the shoulders underneath the legs as possible, and then straightening, coming down, okay? So this would be step number 1 for Kurmasana. Now, what I do, you gotta be careful. Knees, and then I reach back to take the fingertips. All right, that's literally where I am. If you were going to use the strap, you could get the strap on the back, do the same thing, hold on to the strap instead of the hands, and then once you've got the bind, from there and only from there you start to crawl the feet forward, and then maybe cross right foot over left, and then drop the head. Okay? So that's Supta Kurmasana. You play around with it. Again, if I was in a class with you, we would be going through, but because sort of a live video. So yeah, that's what you do. Like I said, Supta Kurmasana, I'm binding fingertips. I've got my fingertips, guys. Sometimes fingertips is all that matters, but eventually you'd come into it a lot more gracefully. You would jump through to seated, cross your feet behind your head, bind, come down. For now, it's fingertips and a little bit of sweat, a little bit of grind. So that's Kurmasana, Supta Kurmasana. Feel free to practice it in your own time. But you do have to be careful of your lower back. I think it's such a deep forward fold. So if you just want to come down, hug your knees into your chest. I feel like I'm working with on these postures with everyone. How long have I been doing yoga? 6 years? Something like that? But I mean, yeah, something on and off for a few years, and then a bit more consistently the latter part. But yeah, I mean, still postures that you work on, you end up working on for a very long time. Tricky ones. Okay, to finish, I just want to do a couple of twists. So if you want to bring your feet and your knees together, down on the floor, arms wide, palms down. You can have the feet on the floor, or for a deeper twist, pick the feet up off the floor. We're just doing this primarily for lower back. So inhale here, and then exhale, drop the knees over towards the right, turn and look over the left shoulder, keep the left shoulder down. And just no effort anywhere. So what is funny with this Supta Kurmasana posture, recently I've been catching my finger, and by fingertips I mean I'm hanging on. I'm really hanging on. So recently I've been catching my fingertips. I can't cross the ankles and keep the bind, but I've been catching my fingertips, and that's only been like the last couple of months. But a year ago, or a year and a half ago, whatever, I'd done the posture, and the next day, that was it. It was the first and last time I'd done the posture. I was so pleased. I was like, fantastic, I've got this, I can bind, I can cross my ankles. And then the day afterwards, it was like, actually, Ashleigh, I don't know what happened yesterday. That was the fluke. The fact you could do it was the fluke. And a year and a half later, I finally grabbed my fingertips again. So inhale, legs back to center, exhale, legs back over to the left now. Turn and look over right shoulder. So I just think that's a wonderful illustration of how progress isn't linear in yoga. One day you might do a posture, you might go back to your posture book, tick it off, fantastic. And then the next day it might be like, actually no, have that back please. Okay, so inhale, legs back to center, and then just come into Shavasana, so legs straight down the mat. Arms a little way away from the body, palms facing up, and just have a little rest here. Also, I personally don't like teachers adjusting me in Kurmasana. There are adjustments, but you can imagine what they're like, can't you? Come behind you, yank your hands together, basically put a knee on your back, press you down, force your ankles over your head. Like for me, Kurmasana it's the tortoise pose. It is a test in patience. I personally don't like being roughhoused in it, but you know, everyone's different. So you're welcome to stay in Shavasana. I'm going to stop this video now. So take a cat stretch, roll around when you're ready to come out. But yeah, that's the posture. That's some dodgy technique for Supta Kurmasana. Like I said though, you can go onto YouTube and have a little look of people actually doing it traditionally, which is crossing their legs behind their head and coming down. But everything I showed you then with Kurmasana, the forward fold, the reach forward, the knees bent, the stages, that's the steps you want to be taking to eventually come into that Supta Kurmasana posture. So all the stages are relevant and valid. But yeah, so there are lots of ways to do into it. You do want to like have a little look on YouTube. All right, I'm off ski. I'll see you tomorrow. I've got a yin style class for hips again, so if you want to join in for that, and if you are watching this on YouTube at a later date, then that will be somewhere on my YouTube channel. So I'm off. Right, see you later. Thank you. Bye.